Hello and good evening. How is everybody doing this night? It's very cold here in Pretoria. Um, I am coming to you to finish off this story of abductions and um, what do you call the word? I don't know if Facebook is gonna blip if I say the word, but the case of the two young ladies that were abducted and they were violated. And now I'm just finalizing that story tonight. Uh, so this is part two. To finish that story, this is part two of the story. It's really cold and freezing here, guys. I don't know where you're watching me from, but where I'm at right now, it's very, very cold. Anyways, without further ado, this is going to be very sweet and short. 15 minutes maximum is how I'm hoping to roll. 15 minutes maximum, very brief. But anyway, as you know our story, if you had watched the first episode, you'll remember that it started from a dream. It started from a dream, and 2 weeks later, what happened. They were violated, they were abducted, violated in the bushes. And I always say this story is not for sensitive viewers. And so if you are a sensitive viewer, please don't continue watching because it may be upsetting for those that are very sensitive to certain type of information and graphics that are not being shown on screen, but descriptive graphics being explained by me. And so, yeah, we were left at when they escaped, when the two ladies escaped to safety. And so, after they had escaped and gone to safety, it was a matter of now contacting people like myself and asking like, how do you proceed? And I was like, no, you need to go to the police and da 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 da. But at the end of the day, they couldn't go to the police. So many complications, something that I cannot disclose on this platform. I don't know whether it's because of this person being a ritualist that he did something. I don't know, but they were this person that we're talking about that violated these young two ladies was never arrested, was never caught. He took the phone and began to actually use the phone on social media, and they were able to trace the phone of this person. But anyway, tonight's episode is just to bring an awareness to say, what do you do after such an incident whereby you've been raped and you don't know by how many people? Because remember, they were in the bushes from 9 a.m. in the morning until 5. Around 5 p.m. in the afternoon is when they came to their consciousness, is when they could realize, oh, I'm here, I'm naked, what is going on? And looking around, candles around you, you are naked, and there's muti, there's money envelopes in the cycle where you've been placed, your body, you are naked. And you can see the sack is lying there, the panga knife is there, meaning the next step, somebody is going to end up killing you and probably selling your body parts to whoever is the highest bid. I'm assuming those envelopes that were in that cycle were by others who may have maybe violated her as well, or they just paid in money so that they can also gain something from this ritual that was being done. And as I said in the last episode, everything was written down, a list. After this, he was going to do this. After this, he was going to do this. So everything was listed down as to what he was going to do to this young woman. So at the end of the day, I'm calling this woman Britannia now so that it's easier as I go along with the story. I'm calling her name Britannia now, the older one. The younger one, I've not given her a name yet, but the older one, because for the sake of their identities, I'm still keeping them anonymous, but they allowed me to share the story. Anyway, let us continue. So after the incident of rape, what does one do, you may ask? Okay, number one, being seeing, okay, because they contacted me, looking at the scenario that this person that was doing all these things is obviously a ritualist. So you need prayer. Number two, you need medical assistance, ASAP. Why do you need medical assistance? You need medical assistance so that There's transmission of diseases, number one. Number two, there's possibility of pregnancy. If you're a woman, you're fertile, you're young, you can easily conceive. You don't know how many people may have violated you. You were unconscious when everything was happening. She couldn't recall except she saw the evidence of I've been violated. So what do? And so I said to them, okay, find a medical place. Now they've got no money in the place where they were at. I said, there's going to be a good Samaritan. I'm praying. So eventually a good Samaritan did come on the scene, and they managed to get them anti-HIV medication. So Britannia took the anti-HIV medication, and this good Samaritan also offered assistance in terms of like just the overall health, checking in on her, until everything was like kind of wrapped up and she was fine, healthy wise, the bruising and everything, that happened to her body during this assault. And so Britannia proceeded to finish the course, that medication. I think you need to take it for 7 days, if not 14 days. And then I said to her, you also need to get the anti-pregnancy drugs, right? But then on day one, all they gave her was the medication for the anti-HIV, but not the other one for the anti-pregnancy. And so by the next day when I was talking, I'm like, okay, so have you taken both the medications for the anti-HIV and the medication for, I'm now feeling warm, excuse me, and the medication for, what do you call this? HIV and the medication for anti-pregnancy. There's 72 hours after, something like that. So she says to me, no, actually they didn't give me that one for the anti-pregnancy. And I said to her, no, you have to make sure that they actually do give you that, because it's very crucial. You may end up being pregnant for this criminal, this ritualist, and whoever else, God knows, whoever else may have violated you when you are unconscious, because you cannot recall the actual incident except the evidence was there, down there. And then so the next day, which was luckily on time, she, excuse me, let me stand and just unbutton this jacket. So by the next day, she took that one, the one for anti-pregnancy. And so it was now just a journey of, okay, the pastor coming on board, praying for them, praying for her and the younger sister, and just making sure, no, the children are fine. Because, when you're in that state, when you've been violated like that, you can't even relate to your children. You are in a state of pain, you are in a state of shock. You don't know how to relate to your own children. And so she was in such turmoil and pain and depression. You go into depression, so many things that she went through. But eventually, thanks be to God, eventually, healing came, healing of the body, and then obviously healing of your spirit and your soul. They get affected by such violation. She was able to go to church. This pastor that came to pray for them, they started attending church there, and I believe they are in good hands as of today. I've been speaking to them. We always on WhatsApp, always on the phone, talking to one another, just checking in on them, how they are doing, and all of that. So, yeah, so it's not a nice experience to experience being violated against your will, being attacked in a strange place that you're not familiar with, and knowingly that this person has cut your hair, pubic hair, has cut your hair from your head. You are wondering, what are they going to do with it? What's next? What am I going to experience? But by the grace of God, with prayer, everything whereby things that are done to you in such a manner, God somehow is able to restore even that brokenness. So they were both broken, but to the glory of God, they are restored. There are times whereby they will have nightmares about the incident, but I want you to remember that this all started with a dream. And the dream, I've explained it in the first episode of this story. And so please do yourself a favor if you're not sensitive to information as such, graphics that I've been explaining so far in this video. The previous one, I think, is furthermore graphic with whatever things that were described in there concerning these two young ladies. So let us be safe, and let us have connections in our communities, in our locations, wherever you are staying. Make sure you know where is your lifeline in your community. Make sure you know where is your police station in your community. Make sure you know where are the social workers in your community, so that when something like this happens, the community is your first point of contact, or your first place of help, apart from the police, because you could be maybe very far from the police, but your community comes your first place where you can get help. So love your neighbors, be neighborly, despite them having had this encounter, first of all, in the dream with a neighbor. And it would seem everything started from there, after dreaming that neighbor doing certain things to them. And from there, this horrible, horrible thing happened, where they were raped and violated in the forest, deep in the forest. And by the grace of God, they were not killed, but the intention was to kill. That was the intention, simple. It was to kill and to destroy. So, beloved, I'm going to stop right here. That is the end of the shocking and abduction story of Britannia, an African girl, beautiful, beautiful girl with her sister. And then next, I'll be bringing you other stories, abduction stories. Why abduction stories? Because I see a lot of abductions all over the world, not only in Africa, and some children that actually teenagers maybe running away from home, and you may mistaken that for an abduction. But there's just incidents of that sort where children go missing, some never to be found. And children and adults alike nowadays, it's not only just children, adults. Like these were adults, a woman with 3 children and her younger sister in her 30s, and the younger sister in her 20s. And this happened to them. So yeah, I'm going to end here. Be safe wherever you are. Be safe when you're getting into that taxi. Send that number plate to somebody. If it's an Uber, send that information on your Uber, app. Send it to your family member. Don't just take it for granted to say it's Uber or it's Taxify, it's safe, it's Bolt, it's safe. No, don't take it just that it's a usual taxi that you're always getting into on a daily basis. But if it's, especially when it's not full, you need to take a photo of that number plate of that and just say, I'm in this taxi, I'm now going home. It will be as if you are a very paranoid person, but it may actually save your life when you do that. So have a habit of always having somebody that you can be speaking to and telling your movements, sharing your movements with them, so that they know where you're at and what ride are you in as you're getting home, or wherever you're going to a party, going to a bride, going to wherever, going to visit a friend. Just make sure that you share those details with your close family members, so that if anything happens, it's so much easier to track and trace you. But also, when you do that, most of the perpetrators, they are hesitant. They're like, why are you taking a photo of my car? Why are you taking the photo of my taxi? You tell them that I'm just, keeping myself safe. Whenever I'm traveling, this is what I do. I hope you don't mind. Because if they are really legal and they are safe people, they shouldn't mind you doing that, because you just want to be safe and communicate to your family members that you are actually in this taxi, you're actually in this ride, thinking of tomorrow if anything should happen, you are much safer in that instance. And also just educate your children, your cousins, your sisters, your brothers, that these things are happening, whereby people get into a normal looking combi, normal looking taxi that ends up abducting them. So it's not a first story. I think here in South Africa, it also happened. So I'll be sharing more of those stories and just bringing an awareness and making sure that you and your loved ones are safe. My 15 minutes is up. I'm going to say good night for now. I will give you an update for those Chewa speaking people, my people. I will do an update on this, the second episode in Chichewa. So that will be, I will broadcast that tomorrow or next week, God willing. Yeah. So from me to you, I love you so much, but know this: you are loved by God, and He loves you unconditionally. So until we meet again next time, this same platform, 6:30 next week. There will be a new story coming up, hopefully current events to cover. You know, so many things are happening here in South Africa. I don't know if you've heard about the story of the 21 young people that died in a horrific incident down in KZN. Yeah, so we may touch on that next week, God willing. Otherwise, I'll bring you another story. Yeah, stay safe. Love you.